This is the Ramana Maharshi Satsang. I'm reading and commenting on the Ashtavakra Gita. Listen, reflect, and deeply meditate. Know yourself. Welcome. I'm Richard Clarke. I'm not a guru or a teacher. Ramana Maharshi's teaching of non-duality is deep and profound, and I just want to share it. I'm reading from and commenting on the Ashtavakra Gita, an important Nidhyasana text of Advaita Vedanta. And as a Nidhyasana text, it focuses on deep contemplation and meditation to bring what is read and reflected upon into your direct experience. Today is chapter 18, verses 93 to 96. And in this chapter, Ashtavakra is talking about the peace of the sage. The inner experience of one who is free of desire and suffering, who is content and reposes in self, how can it be described? And of whom? The wise one's state never varies. Sleeping soundly, he's not asleep. Lying in reverie, he is not dreaming. Eyes open, he is not wakeful. The man of knowledge seems to think, but has no thoughts. He seems to have sense perceptions, but does not experience. He seems to have intelligence, but is empty-minded. He appears to be a person, but is not. The man of knowledge is neither happy nor miserable, neither detached or attached, neither liberated nor seeking liberation. He is neither this nor that. So let's break these verses down. 1893. The inner experience of one who is free of desire and suffering, who is content and reposes in self. How can it be described, and of whom? Ashtavakra speaks of the indescribable state of one who is entirely free from longing and pain, resting fully in the self. Such a one does not seek fulfillment outside because they have found the fullness of being within. Words fail because this experience is beyond the mind's capacity to define or compare. It is an inner peace so complete that there's no one left to claim it as mine. The question of whom points to the dissolution of the personal identity that usually clings to experiences. What remains is effortless contentment, unowned and beyond all descriptions. This verse shines a light on a peace that does not depend on circumstances or effort. You often look for happiness in relationships, possessions, or achievements, but all of these are temporary and easily disturbed. The verse directs you inward to the self, which is constant and unaffected by gain or loss. It also raises a powerful point. When there is no person claiming experience, who exactly is at peace? This perspective can soften your attachment to identity and create space for true contentment to emerge. You are invited to let go of the need to fix or improve life and simply rest as the awareness in which all experience appears. 1894. The wise one's state never varies. Sleeping soundly, he's not asleep. Lying in reverie, he is not dreaming. Eyes open, he is not wakeful. This verse reveals a state of unbroken awareness that is independent of the body and mind. Even when the body sleeps, awareness is present. While dreaming, there is no entanglement with the pictures on the screen. Even while appearing to be awake, there is no identification with the waking mind. The wise one abides as the self, unchanging and constant. Ordinary states, waking, dreaming, and sleeping, come and go, but awareness itself does not fluctuate. This points you towards a recognition that true identity is not bound by mental states or physical conditions. Ashtavakra invites you to recognize awareness as your natural state, unchanged by waking, dreaming, or sleeping. It shows that consciousness is not something you create, but something you already have and are. Spiritual effort often focuses on trying to maintain attention or avoid distraction. But here you are encouraged to see that awareness itself is always present. Whether the mind is busy or quiet, whether you are active or still, the background awareness does not change. This can give you deep confidence. You do not need to control life to be free. You only need to recognize what has always been present, untouched, and at peace. 1895. The man of knowledge seems to think, but has no thoughts. He seems to have sense perceptions, but does not experience. He seems to have intelligence, but is empty-minded. He appears to be a person, but is not. Ashtavakra describes the paradoxical appearance of one established in self-knowledge. To others, such a one may seem to act, think, and respond like any other ordinary person. Yet, inwardly, there's no identification with these actions or thoughts. Thoughts may arise, but they're not claimed as mine. Perceptions occur, but there's no personal experience or attached to them. This is an egoless state where life functions naturally, but the sense of being a separate person has dissolved. What remains is spacious awareness, expressing itself freely without ownership or attachment. Here you see that awakening is not about escaping ordinary life, but living it differently. The wise one functions in the world, but without personal identification. Actions still happen, thoughts arise, perceptions occur, yet there is no inner commentary claiming, I am doing this, or this experience is mine. This is a life of freedom in the midst of activity. For you, this means your spiritual practice does not have to separate you from life. Instead, it can dissolve the sense of me who struggles with life. You are free to meet life naturally and authentically without carrying the burden of self-image or personal control. In 1896, the man of knowledge is neither happy nor miserable, neither detached or attached, neither liberated nor seeking liberation. He is neither this nor that. This verse points to a state beyond all opposites and definitions. The one who knows the self has gone beyond the dualities that define ordinary experience, happiness and sadness, attachment and detachment, bondage and liberation. Such opposites exist only for the mind that identifies with roles and conditions. The self is beyond all categories, beyond all positions. And that recognition, there is no longer even the idea of being liberated, because there's no one left to be bound in the first place. It's an ultimate resting in pure being, free of labels and comparisons. Ashtavakra invites you to step beyond opposites entirely. Most of your life is spent chasing one pole, happiness, success, peace, and avoiding its opposite, sadness, failure, conflict. Even in spiritual practice, you might aim to achieve detachment or liberation. This verse points beyond all of it. The self is free from both pursuit and avoidance. It's not indifferent, but it no longer gets trapped in emotional swings or mental strategies. For you, this offers deep rest. There is nothing to win or lose, nothing to perfect or abandon. When you see this clearly, there is an effortless acceptance of whatever is, grounded in unshakable peace. These verses reveal the nature of one who abides in the self, free from desire and suffering, untouched by the fluctuations of body or mind, and beyond all mental definitions or opposites. They invite you to explore your own identity beyond roles and experiences, resting in the natural, effortless presence that needs nothing to be complete. And now a satsang discourse by Nome, Abide as the Self.
The self is absolute existence that is without beginning and without end, utterly undifferentiated. This existence is illimitable. If the self is realized as such, that which knows and that which is known are one and the same thing. Existence knows itself with sense-transcendent, mind-transcendent knowledge. If the self is not known, that which does not know actually does not exist. The self cannot harbor any ignorance regarding itself, being of the nature of knowledge or consciousness itself. Another, the non-self, how could that ever know the self? And as the self is existence, the non-knower would be non-existent. Sri Bhagavan, Ribhu, and others exhort those who would be wise to abide as the self. What does it mean? Certainly there are not two selves that one would abide as or realize the other. The self is only one. It implies an absence of misidentification, which alone constitutes ignorance. Ignorance in turn alone constitutes bondage and is the root cause of all suffering. To be free of such, abide as the self. What does it mean? It means knowledge, bereft of ignorance, devoid of misidentification. It is a matter of knowledge, spiritual knowledge, not mere sensations, and not mere thinking, but knowledge. For this knowledge, inquire within yourself to know the nature of your existence, the nature of the innermost consciousness. Abandoning any tendency to misidentify with the body, which is most certainly not the self. Inquire as to the true significance of I. That which you truly are, what is your very existence, is always. So inquire to find that which ever exists within you. It cannot be anything objective, subtle or gross, thought or sensation. For these are all perceived to come and go. Moreover, they are unreal. Their coming and going and their transience is not the definition of their unreality, but it is indicative of it. What are you? What are you always? Your existence is unchanged by the states, activities, and conditions and such of the body. What is this existence? Your existence remains unchanged through the passage of various states and conditions of the mind, such as waking, dreaming, and deep dreamless sleep. What is that existence? To clearly identify yourself as the existence alone, and not the content of the mind and its states, and not the body and the content of the sensations with their attributes, is the dawning of knowledge, true knowledge, self-knowledge. For such knowledge, inquire, who am I? The nature of the inquirer alone is the answer. Know yourself. That is the infinite and eternal existence. That is Brahman. That is the self. The only self there actually is. So then, if you know yourself, the absolute reality comprehends itself. If you suppose that you do not know the self, Who is it that does not know? Like this, making your vision non-objective, inquire to know who you are.
And now let's take some time ourselves and inquire. You exist. Notice that you exist and you know you exist. Inquire, investigate within yourself. What happens if I rest awareness on the sense of simply being without needing to be someone? Can I know the silent awareness that is present, whether I am active, resting, or asleep? how would it be if perceptions and experiences unfolded without personal ownership? What remains when there is no seeking for liberation or improvement? Who am I? What am I? All right. And now for our chant. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om. Peace, peace, peace. All right. What did you get from today's verses or Nomi's talk or your own inquiry?
A lot. Thank you very much, Richard. Thank you all. Something about doing this together that makes all the difference in the world, for me at least. When Nome said knowledge, it reminded me of something that struck me about maybe 2 or 3 years ago. And it was when they used the word knowledge and consciousness in the same breath. And it sort of clanged for me. I didn't quite understand that. I remember doing a sort of a deep study into that and still didn't get any resolution. And it was only recently in the last couple of weeks that I think I've come to the realization that when somebody says knowledge from an Advaitic perspective, what they're talking about is not content, but the knowing.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So I prefer in my thinking, when I hear people say knowledge, I immediately transcribe that into knowing, and it makes all the sense in the world suddenly. Yeah.
It's funny how just a little change in the terms
Yeah.
of words gets through your mind in a different way.
Yeah. It really penetrated, suddenly penetrated like never before. And I was ready for it. I wasn't ready for it 3 years ago, but I was ready for it. Yeah. Thank you for
And
reminding me of that.
and when Nome says knowledge, as I hear him saying self-knowledge.
Yeah. He speaks about spiritual knowledge. The word spiritual seems to precede the word knowledge in most of his conversation.
Right.
Yeah.
And the knower and the known are the same.
Amen.
Yes. And it reminds me of what I heard from Werner Erhard at Est in the 1970s. He said, understanding is the booby prize.
Mm. Being is the ultimate prize. Yeah. Yeah.
And the knowing that Nomi speaks of is not a conceptual, intellectual kind of knowing. It is the knowing that
Mm.
arises from direct experience.
Where the experiencer is dead. There's just being.
Oh, yes. That's the highest teaching of all.
So being is what remains after you look beyond liberation. Like Thoreau said, simplify, simplify.
Mm.
This awareness of the self is the ultimate simplicity.
Yeah.
That's right. You just get rid of everything you don't need.
You don't need much.
No, but there's something that you cannot simplify. There's something that you cannot get rid of, and that is the consciousness existence that you are. So you can
Mm.
discriminate and get rid of all the other stuff except being. And Robert, I agree with you. I think somehow, gathering together and listening and contemplating and meditating on this stuff somehow as a group, uh, you can have deeper experiences than you do doing it individually. And it still amazes me that we can get that when we meet the group electronically like we're doing over Zoom.
Amen. Yeah. It's amazing. Truly is amazing.
Yes.
Somebody said to me, you've got all these people you meet on Zoom. You're really not doing any touchy-feely. And I said, let me tell you something. There's a lot of touchy-feely going on. It's quite profound, the intimacy that's achieved through through Zoom, believe it or not.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yep.
Anyway, see you next week and thank you for coming together. Namaste.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
all.
you,
Thank you,
Richard.
Richard. Blessings.
Bye.